What's going on, guys? This is a video response to an article on Locker Gnome. Go ahead and check it out right down there. The title of this article is 7 Reasons I Hate Windows 8. Now in this video I'm not going to go step by step with that article, but however I have given 3 reasons that I hate Windows 8. And really it's the only 3 I can think of. I don't hate Windows 8. There's just nothing about it that makes me want to switch from OS 10. It's just something that I would never use on a daily basis or want to use on a daily basis. So in this video, like I said, I'm just going to give the 3 reasons that I hate Windows 8, dislike Windows 8, and then at the end I'm going to give some closing remarks that sort of back that up. So let's just go ahead and get started. The first reason I don't like Windows 8 is because of the Metro user interface. To me, this is a very tablet-like experience, and I should never be forced to use a mobile experience on my desktop. Now, I say forced because I believe Apple has taken cues from the mobile world, like their iOS, and put it on the desktop very successfully, and it's just so that it supplements the desktop experience. It does not replace it. That's what the Metro user interface has sort of done with Windows. It's replaced the classic start menu, not supplemented it. Now for this demonstration, I'm going to be using Launchpad, probably one of the more popular mobile features that have been brought to OS X. Now in case you don't know what Launchpad is, it's basically the iPad and the iPhone experience of the scrolling pages of icons on the desktop, so I can find all my applications very easily, and it's very similar to like the mobile experience. Now the reason I say that OS X did this so well and Apple did this so well is because if I don't want to use it, which personally I never do, if I don't want to see it, then I never have to see it on my desktop. It's just not there unless I personally activate it. Whereas Metro, every time you boot up your computer, it's there. Every time you want to switch an application, it's there. I never have to see this if I don't want to. But if I do want to bring it up, which by the way you activate by using another mobile feature, which is gestures, all I simply have to do is do a 4-finger zoom in, and there's all the apps. You can sort of see them back there. Now it's very similar to the mobile experience. I'm just scrolling through, and then if I want to dismiss it, you simply pinch, I believe out, yes, pinch out, and they're gone. That is a mobile feature brought to the desktop very, very nicely, because once again, if I don't want to use it, it's never there. Yet again, if I do, it's very simple to activate. I would love if Microsoft brought a way to Windows 8 when it finally does come out, where I could do that same sort of thing with Metro. If I want this tablet, this consumer easy way to launch my applications, then it's as simple as clicking something or just something that will get it there. But then again, if I don't want to see it, I never have to. The second thing I don't like about Windows 8 is the overall multitasking support and sort of mixing with dual displays. Someone like me that's always doing YouTube video editing and writing up blog posts and things like that, I often have many applications open, and so navigating around them, going from this to this to this is very important for people like me, and I'm sure I'm definitely not the only one out there. But because Microsoft has basically replaced the start menu with Metro, if I want to go ahead and say launch another application, I can't do that without leaving my desktop and Metro coming up. I just don't think that's intuitive at all. And if I really haven't had much face-to-face experience with Windows 8, maybe they've changed it since then. Maybe it's something I missed when I did in fact try the developer's preview. So if that's the case, then go ahead and leave a comment below. But before in Windows, say for example I'm just at my desktop and I want to say open up WordPad or just something simple, I could just hit the Windows key and then start typing like W-O-R-D, and it's there. Now you can basically do the same exact thing in Windows 8. If you hit the Windows key, Metro comes up, then you could start typing and it'll search. But my point is that you have to leave your desktop and go to Metro before you can do those things. Now I just don't think that's very intuitive at all. And for dual display support, say for example it was up right now, I believe it'd be the desktop over here or over here. You can choose which side, but the Metro user interface would be up on one of those monitors until you close out of it. So if I want to have just a long desktop like it is right now behind me, then you actually have to close Metro in order to have that full desktop experience. I just think it's so much cleaner and so much nicer just to have the functions of Metro in the start menu. That's there or not, depending on, like I said earlier, if you activate it or not. Metro just sort of always has to be there if you want to do anything that's not in front of you, and I just don't like that. And I know what a lot of you guys are going to say, OS X dual display support with Lion is nothing great either. If you're using a full screen application, the other monitor is basically useless, which I think is the dumbest thing in the world. Apple really does need to fix that. As soon as they fix that, I will start using full screen apps. Once they demoed that, I believe last year at WWDC, I was very excited. Having a full 24-inch Safari window would be amazing. It'd be very nice. But the fact that when I'm using Safari, all I can be using is Safari, that bothered me, which is why I don't use it anymore. So enhanced dual display support is definitely something that OS X needs. But if you don't want to use full screen apps, then you don't have to. The third thing I don't like about Windows 8 is that there's 8 different versions. I had to add those dramatic pauses in there because this is absolutely ridiculous. Whoever made this decision, if they were in front of me, I would just, slap them, probably like double hand a couple times, because all that's going to do is confuse consumers. Now, if I was a consumer and I didn't know anything about computers, I would walk into, say, Best Buy or something, wherever I go to pick up my copy of Windows 8, and I would say, so there's really only one copy of Windows out of the 8 that is actually the full experience, and by the way, it's the most expensive version. So everything else below that, the 7 editions, whether it's Home Premium, Home Basic, Starter, Enterprise, whatever they are, everything else below, I think Ultimate is the top of the line, has features missing. Now that's just absolutely not necessary, and it shows how greedy Microsoft is, saying, well, if you want this feature, we're going to charge you another $50 for it. That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you should not have to pay more to have a full experience of an OS. That is just, it's 2012. There's just no excuse for that. So those have been my 3 reasons why I really don't like Windows 8. I think they're very fair reasons, and I think many of you people will agree with me, but I just want to end with some concluding remarks here. Ever since I've heard about OS X, there's always been people saying that OS X is for idiots, it's for stupid people because it's simpler. Well, I have news for all you guys that are saying that. Where do you think Windows 8 is going? That's exactly what they're doing. They're taking, complicated features and they're making them very simple to the point that I'm being forced to use a tablet user interface on my desktop. Even OS X doesn't do that. The only tablet sort of feature they have is Launchpad, which, like I said, never even has to be there. So by all you guys saying that, now with Windows 8, if you upgrade, you are the biggest hypocrites ever. And I have some more news for you. You can't stay on Windows 8 forever. Eventually it'll become archaic, it'll be old, it'll be very, very bad, and you'll want to upgrade to something. And I guarantee you that it's going to be simpler than Windows 7. And that's because technology is here to help us. Technology is not here so you can stay back in the 90s and prove that you're a elite hacker that uses command line. Technology is here to make our lives simpler and to make consumers' lives simpler. Not everyone is going to understand all these complex things, which is why a device like the iPad is just so great, because it's very, very simple to use. One of the greatest analogies I've ever heard about this actually came from David DeFranco, and he said, would you rather use pen and paper or would you rather use a calculator? So for doing math, do you really want to prove that you can do long division and write out 2 pages of work on this really hard, complex problem? You're going to use a calculator. Why? Because it makes your life easier. It's the same exact principle with technology. Now with this video and with this whole revolution of making things easier to use, that's not a bad thing at all. Like I said, that's why the iPad is so successful. But even on OS X, OS X has always been considered simplified, maybe slightly even more consumer. That's what happened with Final Cut Pro 10. It went from Final Cut Pro 7, which was big, complex, and they made it into Final Cut 10, which a lot of people don't know has the same features. Everything is just easier, and it's even worlds faster when exporting. So good things can come out of making things consumer, which is why I think Windows 8 has tons of potential. However, with Windows 8, I don't really think they're just making things easier. They're trying to, like I said in the beginning of this video, unify everything into one OS. Where at this point in time, there is, like I said, no one-size-fits-all OS for every single device out there. And it may never exist. So at the end of the day, I think Windows 8 is just going to yield a very questionable user experience, and that questionable experience is going to start at the store when they're picking from 8 different versions and how much they want to spend. Apple just makes everything so easy. There's one version of the OS, it costs $30 and you download it from your computer. You never even have to get off your chair if you don't want to, and one price, one version, that's it. Of course, discluding server, which isn't really a whole new OS, it's just a pack of things on top of an OS. But that's the thing, if you don't know what server is, there's absolutely no need for it, so you don't even have to keep it in mind. It's just, no, I don't need that, and that's it. That's what Windows 8 needs to be doing. That's what Microsoft doesn't get. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. I do think that it was a very, very fair way to look at Windows 8, and I have a feeling that a lot of you guys are going to agree with me. And if you haven't already, check out the Locker Gnome article in the description. Give that a click, give it a read, and go ahead and like it, share it on Twitter, of course, along with this video. By the way, I'm at CPUKid on Twitter. If you guys have any questions, I definitely look forward to hearing more from you guys about the subject, and I'll see you guys in my next video.